Okay, folks, section 6.2, rates. Now remember, yesterday we talked about ratios. Ratios are numbers that we compare that have the same unit. Today, we are comparing numbers with different units. A rate is a comparison of numbers with different units, okay? We always write rates as a fraction with the units written beside the number, and we do that because the units are different. Sometimes we make the denominator equal 1. This is called a unit rate, okay? We like the denominator equal 1 because then we can compare things, okay? Now, let's look down at this study tip. I'm going to move it here to the center. Scoop this down a bit. In real life, rate has many different names, okay? Here are some examples. Here's one name for it that we use all the time. Speed, miles per hour, kilometers per hour, feet per second, okay? Speed. Hourly wage, that tells you how much you make in an hour, all right? Or a unit price. How much does one cost? We may be buying 6, right? But a unit price tells us how much one of them costs, okay? Now let's go down here to example number 1. All right, let me scoot down a bit. All right, in example number 1, it says on Saturday, you babysit for 2.5 hours and are paid $10. On Sunday, you babysit for 3 hours and were paid $10.50. Find the hourly wage that you were paid on each day. Which one was greater? How many of you babysit? Raise your hand. I want to see how many of you babysit. 1, 2, sometimes 3, 4. Okay, and let me ask you this. Of the 4 of you, 4 out of 13, how many of you have an hourly rate? You say, okay, this is how much it costs. All right, 1, 2, 3, kind of. Okay. Sometimes you just rely on the kindness of the people you're working for. You're like, they're going to pay me what they think they should. Okay, so they just pay you. Well, now, let me do this. Let's do this. Catherine, can you help me set up this first rate right here? Help me set that one up. It's going to look like this. But what goes on top and what goes on bottom? The money goes on top. And you know why? Because we like to say how many dollars per hour, right? So we like the time to be on the bottom, okay? So, Catherine, just go ahead and set up the other one for us. What is it? $10.50 on top, 3 hours on the bottom, okay? Now, I don't know if you guys may be able to, you may not, I don't know. But for me, it's kind of hard to tell immediately which one of these is more dollars per hour. So I want you to think back to some of the problems that we've done where we take a fraction like 4/7 and 3/6, right? And I'd say which one's bigger or which one's smaller, or are they equal? What do we do to figure out which one is bigger? What do we do, Peyton?
You have to make them have the same denominator.
We got to make them have the same denominator, okay? Now, with rates, we like that same denominator to be 1. 1 hour. How much do you get paid in 1 hour? We know how much you got paid in 3 hours, and we know how much you got paid in 2.5 hours, but how much would you get paid every hour, okay? Well, how do I change this? I changed the 2.5 to 1. How did I do that, Koulis?
Well, I was going to say on the next one, you just do the money divided by 3.
Well, what do I do on the first one? The money divided by?
The money divided by 2.5.
Exactly. Now, can you do that mentally?
No.
Try it. Try doing this mentally. How many times does 2.5 go into 10? What do you think, Lou? 4. It goes into it 4 times. So that's $4 per hour. Now, the next one is not as easy to do mentally. You can. It's not as easy. But can someone come up with it for me?
I'm doing it right on.
Allison, what do you think?
Well, 3 goes into 10 3 times.
Allison, hang on one second. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm going to have to pause. We'll go to the next video. We'll pick it up there, okay?